Hey there. So welcome to this little quick workshop on sacred relationships. And this is the second video of this workshop. So whether you are looking to deepen your relationships or to create a more sacred bond with your own higher self and practice more self-love, this is the place for you to be and for you to be able to learn what that looks like in your life, to have that kind of a relationship with somebody that is so sacred and deep that the connection is very soul felt. So I'm Dakota Walker, and I've been, teaching this kind of work for almost 30 years now, and through my own life experience, and also working with several great teachers throughout the years, Hopi Medicine Man, Navajo shamans, and shamans in Ireland, and so forth. I feel like I have accumulated a lot of tools and resources for my own soul growth that I have been able to transcend and share with others as well. Teaching is my passion, and I feel like it is exactly where I need to be fulfilling my sacred purpose. And so in this workshop, this video, I'm going to show you a little bit more about sacred relationship, and we'll also talk a little bit about the twin flame energy and why that's so prevalent right now, and how I can give you a couple of tools that will help set you on that path of creating those sacred relationships. So let's go outside and get started. I want to show you a little journey, and then we'll talk down by the pond. Okay, come on. Okay, so now that we're down here outside in this beautiful, beautiful space, I want to encourage you, if you have not already watched the first video, to just go back and watch that first one. I give you a couple of really good tips in there about how to kind of jumpstart your awareness of where you are in relationship with other people and with yourself, and those are valuable little tips that will help you kind of get back into that groove of paying attention. And so there's no better time than now for you to be developing these really deep, soul-felt, sacred relationships. They are the catalyst for so many things that we want to do in our lives. And our relationships, our ability to love ourselves is paramount for us to live a life that really feels connected. We are social creatures by nature, and so much of this world that we live in right now is conducive to us being disconnected from one another. We're spending more time behind a computer or an iPhone, or just not having those deep, heartfelt connections with other people that really are the thread that brings us into that full aliveness of our lives. So there is a reason why you're watching this video. There's a reason why you have chosen to spend this time with me, because I think that you likely feel that the relationships in your life are just not quite there. Or maybe you don't take enough time out for yourself. Or maybe there's this intense feeling of energy and you just don't know what to do with it. And that kind of ties into the energy of the twin flame stuff that we'll talk about here in a little bit. So I feel like there's a lot of people right now who are searching for that connection and that deep meaning, because we have lost it in so many ways. And there's just so much about a relationship with somebody else. It's not just that heartfelt connection, but it's also a great place for us to learn about ourselves and who we are as people. So I have, like I said earlier, I've been teaching for about 30 years, and which seems like a really long time. And yet I'm still a student also. I am always constantly learning and being challenged myself. And there's not a time that really, stops. So we are in that constant flow. For myself, my sacred purpose in life is to be of service and to teach and help guide people. And I think I do it pretty well. There's a lot of things I don't do well, but I do that one well. And I feel like I have been this constant student most of my life. And so I take all of those experiences that I've had, and I feel like I've lived a rich life. I feel very fortunate that early on I had the foresight to really develop my sacred purpose at a very young age. And because of that, I think I've sped up my learning process, and I really experienced a lot in my life. If I were to die today, I would definitely be very fulfilled and happy. I don't want to die today, but so I feel like I have what it takes to bring other people into that awareness of their soul, and also to help them develop these tools in your life that help you live a more full-bodied experience. Life is really, it's so profound. It's so beautiful and rich. And when I first started out, back in my 20s, it was not like that at all. I was very, very codependent and very much not in tune with my surroundings. I didn't have sacred relationships. I didn't have a sacred purpose. I didn't like where I lived. There were so many aspects of my life that were not right. And that's where I fed out of that to develop a way out of that, and learned and began gathering teachers and really implementing what I was learning into my life. And it made a profound change, difference for me. And so in this video, I'm going to kind of show you what a sacred relationship looks like, first of all. And then we'll talk a little bit about the twin flame energy. And I want to touch on the south direction, what the energy of that feels like, because that's the direction that we're heading into right now in the medicine wheel. And then I'll give you a couple of tips to get you started on building that sacred relationship, and then we'll go from there. So, sacred relationship, what it looks like is that when you are in the presence of somebody you love, family, friends, partner, anybody really, the relationship is a catalyst for growth and really allowing you to feel into what your life looks like in relationship with other people. There's this place that you get to in a sacred relationship where the epitome of unconditional love is there. There's no judgment, there's no angst, there is this soul appreciation for one another and for what each person brings to the table. And there's not a competition. It's not defined by labels or judgments or fears. It's like you melt into this place that you share with somebody, where each person can show up fully without question, without feeling that there's any other place that they need to be, if that makes sense. And the bond that happens in a sacred relationship is such that you feel the soul of the other person, that you honor that person no matter where they are, that your agenda isn't about you, it's about what is in the best alignment for them and for you. I mean, it is about you to some degree, but there's this open space where each person can truly show up as they are, and give that gift to one another, that, you know, if you are this way today, that is just you, and I love you, and I accept that. And, you know, sometimes what happens in relationships is that we go in with these agendas, and usually the agendas are about us. You know, what am I going to get out of this relationship? How are my needs being met? How am I being uplifted or supported? And it's all this stuff that gets convoluted. And then you have also these judgments that can happen in a relationship. Well, my last partner did this, and you don't. Or, you know, just, we all know where those judgments come from. They usually are a lack of really self-love that we have for ourselves. And then there are the fears that show up in a relationship. You know, I will love you this much, but I'm not going to go past here because I'm really scared. I don't want to get hurt. I don't want to get tied down. I don't want to get X, Y, and Z. So that is how we kind of approach relationships in general. That's how we're, in the third dimensional world, that is how relationships show up. When you transcend that and you begin really feeling your way into a sacred relationship with somebody, those things fall away and melt away, and you're then able to navigate a different place with them where you can be vulnerable, you can be authentic, you can be soulful, you can laugh and have fun and experience true joy with each other. There's an intimacy that happens that transcends the physical body, but really brings together the beauty and the magic that happens between two people. And I'm not just talking about, you know, the physical relationship between two people who are in partnership. I'm talking about the intimacy that happens even in your friendships or in your family. Just being able to create that space where you can just truly be open and, you know, not have that feeling of having to be guarded all the time. So communication becomes really important in these kind of relationships, that you are able to communicate to somebody that you feel this way without the need for them to fix it, or you want to experience this because that's what your soul is calling for. You know, it's being able to communicate in a nonverbal way too. Being able to deeply listen to somebody and to be present with them in a way that your mind isn't over here, your to-do list isn't over here, you're not in the back of your head trying to think, what am I going to say when they finish? But you're really, really just being present with somebody. And what a great gift that we can give them when we do that. So as we develop these sacred relationships, there's a great thing that happens also in that not only are you creating this bond with this other human or animal, but you are also creating kind of a loop for yourself where you can be present with where you are. You can be present with your feelings. You can be authentic in every situation. You know, whether you're at the grocery store and you're checking out at the line, you know, your relationship with that cashier, or your relationship with, you know, an acquaintance at work, or your relationship with the taxi driver. All these relationships shift because you are now, you know, used to being in that authentic place, and there's not a fear there of what will they think of me, or what do I think of them. You know, that letting go of that judgment of where other people might be. And when we continue to create these sacred relationships, and you can kind of see where this is going, like if all of us had sacred relationships, can you imagine, just imagine for a moment what the world would be like if everybody showed up from a place of truth rather than fear. Or you could have a conversation with somebody and know that they are absolutely being who they are at the deepest core of their soul. That would change everything. Absolutely everything. And what a great, beautiful place this world would be. For me, that's why I teach this work, because I figure that if I can help people kind of tap into their soul and be more authentic, then there's a greater chance that this world will change and become really this heaven on earth. I mean, truly. That's my goal. That's my end game. And sacred relationship is one of the ways that we can create that. It's profound. It's extremely profound. So I'm going to pause this for a second, because now that we're in spring, my allergies are so bad right now. So I need some water. I'm going to pause this for one moment. Okay, thank you for being patient. I love being outside, but man, the pollen is intense this year. So where was I? Sacred relationship. When, and that is one of the best ways I feel in changing the world around you, is by changing your relationship with others. The other piece to this sacred relationship is that you must also create this with yourself. And one of the, I don't want to say negative, but one of the challenges that people have is a feeling of codependency or numbness. And these are both attributes of the south direction. So if you have codependency, you likely have an excess amount of energy in the south. If you are emotionally numb, then you probably have an excess east energy and a deficient south energy. And I'm actually going to put a link to a test down below where you can kind of find out where, what the health of your directions are in the entire medicine wheel. And this will help you kind of get an idea of maybe where you need to do some work. So anyway, if you have either one of those things going on, it makes it really hard to create that sacred relationship with yourself, because number one, if you're codependent, then you are looking outside of yourself to be fulfilled. You're looking for that validation from other people. You're wanting to raise your self-esteem by being of service to other people. There's something that happens when you are codependent, is you are actually stealing the power of other people. So that's a really important piece to fix if you are in that bowl of soup there. If you're emotionally numb, then likely you are not doing things that are good for your soul, that are, you might put work first. You might put, you make your decisions from that mental body or the physical body, but not the emotional body. So that's an important piece to also heal, because you've got to kind of bring that emotional component into it so that you can tap into how you are feeling, knowing how you are feeling in any given moment. So those two things will certainly block you from not only a sacred relationship to yourself, but to other people as well. And those would be two places that you really, really want to heal, you know. And we do that when we go into the south direction. We work a lot with self-love and empowerment and reining in that energy to balance it out in the south direction. But that relationship that you have to yourself is built by building that self-love muscle. You know, really taking care of who you are, taking care of your needs, taking care to take time for yourself. There's all kinds of things that we do to, you know, bring that into balance. And one of the things that I hear a lot of people say is, but I need to take care of everybody else first. They're counting on me. Or I've got kids, they have to come first. Or, you know, it's selfish if I'm taking care of myself. It's selfish if I take time out for myself. It's selfish if I go get a massage. I don't have the money to spend doing these things. You know, there's all these excuses that we make up when it comes to loving ourselves. And that perpetually puts us, you know, back here, like, you know, let me take care of all of this first, and then if there's time left, then I'll take care of myself. But this comes first. That will burn you out over time, but it will also, it sets you up for, you know, always being on the outside of yourself. Your self-esteem being fed by everything that's happening outside of yourself. And there's not a chance for you to really connect to your soul at that really deep intrinsic level when you're always out here. When you come inward, you come into your heart space, you really find, you know, what it is that you love to do, what feeds your soul. That's when you tap into that self-love and begin giving it to yourself. And then you become like this incredible vessel that has so much to give to other people. It's counterintuitive sometimes, but that really is what happens. And the other piece to that, when I ask people, what do you do? Well, what brings you joy? Or what makes your soul feel really happy? And you would be surprised how hard it is for people to know what that is. You know, what brings my soul happy? Wow, I have no idea. You know, I used to do this, but that was because I always did that with so-and-so. Or my family always did this, so I just did it. And so if you take all these things that you think that you love to do and really dissect it down to, is this really something that I love to do? Or is this something that I did with somebody else and then it just kind of became mine? Which is okay if you really love it. So that would be the difference. So building the self-love muscle, it takes a lot of practice and it takes a lot of courage and also that willingness to just trust that process, especially if you are codependent. This is going to be a challenge piece for you because your knee-jerk reaction is going to be to take care of other people. And one of the things that kind of happens if you've not ever really taken the time to love yourself and to do the things that you love to do, and you have other people in your life that are not in sacred relationship with you, here's what happens most of the time. You listen to this video, and in a little while you're going to hear my little homework piece for you, and you say, okay, I'm going to do this. I am going to commit to doing this for 1 week. And you go and you do You announce to your partner, your friend, your roommate, your whatever, whoever you're living with, that I am going to take an entire day to just go and play. One response will be, oh, well, can I come too? Codependent person's going to say, okay. And then emotionally numb person might say, hell no, you're not coming with me. And then there becomes this little fight, this little tiff, whatever. Scenario number 2 is, well, since when do you get to take time for yourself? Do I have to sit here and work, and take care of the kids or take care of the house and blah, blah, blah? Codependent person would say, no, you're right, I guess I need to stay and do this. And they sacrifice themselves again. Response number 3 would be, you must not love me if you don't want to spend a day with me. And that one really pulls at the heartstrings of the codependent person. So you've got these responses that may show up for you when you start taking the initiative to reclaim what is rightfully yours. And in the beginning, that can be really difficult because I would say in general, most people want to please other people. And I would also venture to guess that probably 90% of the people watching this video right now are codependent. And that's not a judgment. It's just something for you to observe and learn how to be less codependent so that you can practice this self-love piece and be in sacred relationship. So I offer that to you because this will oftentimes, when you start making these changes, it will be met with some resistance on the side of the people who are in your life with you. And if you go into this with your eyes open and you know that ahead of time, then it's easier to have crafted some of the responses that might work to help kind of eliminate that knee-jerk reaction of a codependent or an emotionally numb person. So one of the responses you might have might be, I really love you. And I feel that it's really important for me to take care of myself so that I can continue loving you or loving this relationship. And I just need time to refuel. It's as simple as that. And that is the truth. It is absolutely 100% the truth. You've got to take that time to refuel and to re-up your resources within yourself. So kind of think ahead of time about the people in your life and how they're going to respond to you taking this crazy leap towards loving yourself and what that really means. And be thoughtful in your responses. This is when you start building that sacred relationship muscle, is you acknowledge the feeling that they might be having. And you also stay in your power with what you need as a soul and honoring, both pieces of it. For me in my own relationship, there's one day a week where we each take our separate days and we go and do whatever it is that we want to do. We don't have any obligation to call or give a time when we're going to be home, or, we don't stop at the grocery store and run errands or anything like that. It is completely our day to be completely by ourselves to do what it is that we feel led to do. And we also have a day that we spend together and we create that sacred relationship with one another. So, there's 3 days out of the week where something is happening that is either building the self-love muscle for ourselves or building the sacred relationship. When you begin implementing these kinds of things into your life, you are going to see exponential change, I guarantee you. It will revolutionize your relationships to other people. Okay, and then next I want to talk about the twin flame energy. And the reason I'm bringing this into, excuse me, this video is because right now in our world, there is such a search for that twin flame energy, and I'll explain it here in a second. There's also, it seems, an influx of twin flames that are coming together at this time. So what does that mean? Twin flames are two people who come together who have a common denominator of the same soul. So when your soul was born, the very first initial spark of your soul's incarnation, which could be thousands and thousands and thousands of years ago, that initial spark happened, and then it created two lineages. And each of these lineages have kind of gone through lifetime after lifetime after lifetime after lifetime, and they kind of weave in and out, you know. Some lifetimes you're not together, some lifetimes you do come together, you go away, you come back, you go away, you come back. When you come together in a lifetime, it's where your two souls are coming back together and you're kind of forming that perfect union of your soul again. This is an incredible feeling to have when you feel so connected to somebody that they literally feel like your other half. There's this huge pull and this ache that happens in your soul once you have met them, and if circumstances are not right where you can't be together, then there's this ache that happens that it's like you just have to be together. It's almost like an incredible feeling that just can't get satisfied until you do come together. So a couple things happen when you are twin flames. If you're at different places spiritually, there will be a lot of tension in the relationship. There's a lot of angst, and it just is not really, it can be quite painful, to be honest. When you do come together and you are kind of at the same spiritual level, the reunion is incredibly beautiful, and it's very heartfelt and almost falls right into a sacred relationship because there's such an understanding of one another that you just have this amazing recognition of what that other person needs. You're so tuned in that you can feel them no matter where they are or what they're doing. So that's the twin flame energy, and I bring that in here because likely there are a lot of you who are in that space of knowing who your twin flame is and not being able to be together, or you have met your twin flame and have come together and are trying to navigate that in some way. So we have covered a lot of information in this little video, and I think what I'm going to do is in the next video is I'm going to share with you more about the south direction and what that kind of looks like, and how the south energy can really help you to mold and manifest these relationships in your life. You don't need to know everything right now, and I don't want you to feel, horribly overwhelmed. In fact, I want you to just take a deep breath and know that you have within you everything that you need in order to build sacred relationship and to love yourself fully, and that you are, likely on the precipice of a gigantic iceberg that you're about to unearth and really discover, and sometimes, for the first time. about the relationships that they're currently in, that they don't feel are sacred relationships, but you know, they're in a 30-year marriage. So how do I just, you know, uproot all of that? And my answer to that is that you will find within yourself that space that either your partner rises up with you, they respond differently to you, or you will be given the wisdom to know what to do with that relationship. Once you tap into your authenticity, you will know how to navigate that situation. I think a lot of people end up staying in relationships that no longer serve them because they don't know what else to do. And sometimes they think it becomes easier. And then other times, your partner wants to do the same thing. They want to live a more sacred life also. And so doing that together is a beautiful, harmonious thing that you actually end up creating together. So be open to either one. The other thing that I was hearing in some of the questions in the comments was, do I need to go through a complete revamp? I'm trying to remember this one question in particular. Do I need to go through a complete revamp of who I am in order to really step into my authenticity? And, you know, at first I didn't quite understand that question, but I do now. And because I think there are times where we want to shortchange ourselves, we want the quick fix. And in truth, just as I said earlier in the video, that I feel like I've been a student for 30 years also. You never stop learning, you never stop growing, and there's always tools for you to take it one step deeper, one step further. And for me, with the medicine wheel, it gives me an opportunity to go through each direction every year. And every direction I am focusing on a different piece of my life, a different aspect of my life. And I'm really fine-tuning it. I'm like, okay, this is where I am right now. How can I make this better? How can I change or shift this? Do I need to change or shift this? And I spend that entire season really honing in on that direction's energy. And then I go to the next direction, and I may pull in some of the energy from the previous direction, but I will focus my energy on the next piece. Like right now, we just finished the East direction, which was all about sacred purpose and confidence, communication, and really what we do, how we show up in this world, what we do to be of service. And so that was my focus for the last 3 months. Now we're shifting into the South direction, and my focus is now going to be more on relationship, self-love, creativity, passion, intuition, empathy, intimacy, sensuality. And I'm going to really, you know, take those to the next level. And then when fall comes around, I will then shift my energy to the West direction, and I'll start working on the physical environment, my sacred space, my, you know, forgiveness, and all these things. So I go through each direction, and I'm continually, you know, pushing to make it better and make it more rich, more full. I think that there's the day that you stop breathing is the day you can say, okay, I'm done learning in this lifetime. But until then, if you're breathing, you've got stuff to work on. You've got lessons to learn. You've got places to grow and go. And that doesn't stop. You don't become enlightened enough to sit back and just be in nirvana. And some people may feel that way. I don't. I feel that there's, you know, the Shamanic Path, it's a constant spiral. You're spiraling around, coming around to new lessons all the time. And that's just the way of life. And that's the beauty of life too. So in the next video, I'm going to share with you more about self-direction. I will also give you a PDF download with some really deep soul questions that you can begin asking of one another, to your partner, to your friend. You find somebody that you can do this with. You can even do it with yourself. And I'll tell you a little bit more about, kind of the mentorship and what we do there. But for right now, I want you to scroll down and I want you to leave me a comment. I want you to tell me, what are the challenges that you find with your relationships? And you can include your relationship with yourself or with other people. But I really want to know, because that helps me to kind of really fit the curriculum around what you need and what you are desiring. So what your pain points are. So leave a message down below. I will also give you down below a little handout that will get you started on just a couple of simple things that you can begin to use in your relationships and also with yourself. So have fun with that, especially with the self-love piece of it. I think you'll enjoy it if you actually, put some energy into it. You'll love it, I promise. And I will see you in the next video. All right, thank you.